U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry hosted a working lunch for the visiting Vietnamese president on Wednesday. Kerry sounded a promising note in his speech.
The Vietnamese have learned from their own history that we all have no permanent enemies, only friends yet to be made.
Almost 4 decades after the Vietnam War ended, the Southeast Asian country is increasingly looking at the United States for strategic assurance. In a way, ironically, to counterbalance its communist big brother, China. Brantley Womack is a longtime watcher of U.S.-China-Vietnam relations. He spoke with VOA via Skype.
When Vietnam feels insecure, who is it going to feel insecure about? Laos? Cambodia? Thailand? The United States is too far away. So China.
Alexander Wu Bing teaches at the Asia-Pacific Center for Security Studies. He spoke with VOA via Skype from Honolulu.
Now, with the Chinese assertiveness in South China Sea, there's increasingly sort of broadening the consensus in Vietnam, the perception that China is posing a threat to Vietnam's sovereignty and territorial integrity.
For those who wish to see Vietnam transform into a democratic system, tension between Vietnam and China, as well as Vietnam's increasing reliance on the U.S. for trade and investment, provide a window of opportunity for democratic change in Vietnam. Dr. Nguyen Dinh Thong is executive director of the Virginia-based civil rights organization Boat People SOS.
There's one thing that truly is helping right now, and that is the unrelenting aggression from the north, that is from China. Because Vietnam cannot resist that aggression on its own. It is becoming more and more vulnerable to that. And it has to make a decision, either to join with the U.S. And ASEAN countries, to put together a common front to push back that aggression, or stay with China.
Many of Vietnam's neighbors in Southeast Asia are going through socio-political changes that, until recently, were difficult to imagine. Burma, for decades under military dictatorship, is going through systemic transformation that has been welcomed by the international community. The Burmese leadership is keeping its promise to release all political prisoners by the end of the year, in order to see all to be able to contribute towards the betterment of the country. Vietnam's neighbor, Cambodia, also is holding elections, and its opposition leader has been allowed to return from exile. Analysts say Vietnamese leaders are confronted with the fundamental question of which direction the country ought to go.
Do we want to open up the country? Do we want to be open to the dissidents and opposition and so on and so forth?
Observers say reform-minded officials within the Vietnamese government are still in the minority. For changes from within to happen, a push from the outside could make a difference. Many hope Vietnam will see the example of Burma and change.
Just like with Burma. So there ought to be some pressure from outside, and that might trigger changes from within the system. We have seen a lot of talking, a lot of statements. We appreciate that, but we need concrete actions and a timeline from our own governments.
Analysts say high on President Tsang's agenda on his visit to the United States is upgrading the bilateral relationship to a strategic partnership.
One of the diplomatic goals of Vietnam is to establish a strategic partnership with each of the permanent 5 members of the UN Security Council. The United States is the only one left that it doesn't have a strategic partnership with.
In a speech he gave on Wednesday, Vietnamese President Tsang expressed his country's desire to see a stronger footprint of the United States in the Asia-Pacific region.
amidst a changing regional and world landscape. The major powers, including the United States, have an important role and responsibility in dealing with hotspots in the region, such as the East China Sea.
Many members of the U.S. Congress have urged the White House to seize the opportunity and enable a change in Vietnam that will benefit its people. House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman Ed Royce.
If Vietnam wants a closer relationship with the United States, then Vietnam should meet this requirement by the United States in exchange. We should use our leverage.
Congressman Chris Smith from New Jersey.
There will never be a matriculation from dictatorship to democracy if we stand with the dictatorship. So I say meet with presidents like Song, who was not elected by the people, as we all know. He was elected by the National Assembly. The man is a dictator. Meet with him, argue with him, but don't enable him. Don't walk around smiling and having so many photo ops that the plight of the dissidents gets lost.
How the United States and Vietnam balance human rights, trade, and geopolitical considerations will be watched by many in the region, not the least China. Natalie Liu, VOA News, Washington.